trying to get crazy with this thing? Don't you know I'm loco?
Yeah, man. Also, there is a soundtrack to the documentary, Def Jam Records. You know what I mean? And they teamed up with us kind of on the film, as well. And the album Sick came out in August. Got I did like a 50 MCs mixtape with all Def Jam artists, past and present.
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, a.k.a. Bobby Tribal. And once again, it's time for that Lower Left podcast. Johnny B. Good is out. That's why he didn't say the Lower Left podcast. Johnny B. Good's out, busy today. We had to do this today. So I got my man DJ Artistic helping out.
Yes. Everything's good, man. We got a legend in here. Two legends.
No, just the one. And it was kind of, this dude... we had to do it, have to do it. And Art came through. So, I mean, I probably could have pulled it off, but it's always
Of course you could have. You're Bobby Tribal.
Stop it. But Art's right. It's good to be back. We do have what I consider and Art considers a legend in the house. And if you know anything about hip-hop, you know anything about mixtapes, you know anything about Rocksteady Crew, you know our man, Tony Touch.
All right. Wow. What an intro, man. Thanks, Bobby. Damn, we documenting this, right? Need that intro.
Yeah, Tony. But like Tony's got his own radio. Great friend of mine, too. I forgot that part.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you, Bobby, man.
Always good to see Tony, man.
Man.
This is sure. our part of the New York family, and we've had some amazing experiences together, both on the West Coast, East Coast, and in Japan.
Chacho.
Right? And
Chacho. Yeah, I love it.
I always tell people that part of, I think, the friendship, not just between you and I, but between our Puerto Rican or Boricua homies from, or even Spanish speaking, let's just say Latino, because the Beat Nuts fit into the same category as being a part of our family from out there too, is we share the Latino slang. We share, like, we'd always, what does that mean? Like, regular Spanish, we understand each other and we play around. We speak Spanglish sometimes.
That's right.
But then we're learning words from each other.
Yeah.
Like, what's this slang? What'd you say? Like, today you said freco.
Yeah, es un freco. Right?
And I'm like, what is freco, bro?
Yeah.
And you,
what is it?
Freco's like, could refer to someone being like, maybe like inappropriate, making advances or being like
But then it translates into
loose with it, and but it translates to like
fresco.
Fresco, that's right.
Fresco, like so. See, so that might.
I don't say the S. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Fresco,
right?
We got to be fresco.
Yeah, but man. Yeah, I'm really happy today because Tony and I got to took him to Tacos El Gordo. Mandatory.
Love that.
Just because he's in San Diego and he did a show last night and it's just like I just shut down my day because Tony's in town.
I love that, man.
Yeah,
man, that was a good call too, man.
Yeah, right.
I love that spot.
Yep.
Man.
And then it's all good, but there's so many places we could start with Tony. I think I saw photos of Tony before I met him in person. Shout out to Suquan.
Wow, God bless.
Suquan did a photo shoot for Tribal of some heads from Rocksteady. I believe it was you, Kenny, Wiggles. Wow. I think. Do you remember that?
I kind of do.
I have those photos. They were like black 90s. And white. Yeah, 90s.
94 or 95.
And then eventually I met you through Crazy Legs. Either going. I don't remember exactly when or how or what. But it would all came together.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you a little bit. What are the early days like? How did you grow up and how did you become Tony Toca?
That's a trick question, man. Yo. I mean, basically born and raised Brooklyn, New York, East New York to be exact, that area over there, and then moved to Canarsie, which is a little bit around the way, a lot of Italians, a lot of, Jewish, a lot of, Spanish, Black. I grew up in these areas where it was like, everybody was like a melting pot, so, but yeah, so born and raised Brooklyn, New York, you know what I mean? And then I moved to Florida for a few years, high school years, you know what I mean? Thank God, because I would have never finished school if I would have stayed in New York during 84, 85, because it was, it's easy to get like...
Está cabrón.
Chacho, it was easy to get distracted. And I was, my first year in high school in New York, I was already...
Yeah.
Mom was like, yo, we going to Florida. So that was a good call. There's where I developed my DJ skill.
Wait, por travieso, running with the neighborhood? Was it like...
hangueo, bro. Just wanting to hang out, bro, and breakdance everywhere. Everywhere there was a cypher, I wanted to be. I didn't want to be in school, bro.
So at what point in your life, I know that's a heavy question, did you first see hip-hop or discover hip-hop?
How old was I? Like on some breaking, b-boy stuff.
In the 80s? 70s?
Yeah, like I would say early 80s, like 80, 81, 82 maybe, And then, when the Flashdance movie came out, of course, there was a scene in the movie where Rocksteady was showcased, and that scene like changed my life and a bunch of people's lives, just seeing that visual for like 1 minute, if that, Rocksteady breaking on the big screen. You're like,
that was Legs and Freeze and who else?
It was Normski, it was Mr. Freeze, it was Frosty Freeze, it was Crazy Legs, Ken Swift. Yeah.
That's when he had the umbrella, right?
Mr. Freeze with the umbrella, yeah. And that scene like did it for me. And that's how I just fell in love with the culture, since more of like from the dancing side of things, Just like my mom used to go clubbing, so you had salsa parties in the house. Everybody's got doing the hustle and shit. Everybody's dancers in my family, so, and musicians, But so I grew up around that, and then the DJ thing just took over after I was just like, as a dancer, fed up with the DJ that was playing at the moment. I was like, man, I got to do this, man. And I started throwing my own events, my own parties. I was like 16. So cool.
At what point did you get down with Rocksteady? Did you know those kids when they were in the movie?
I met them around 92, 93 as well. That's when I hooked up with Legs, like maybe 92. I met them, and they used to do the Rocksteady anniversaries at the park in Spanish Harlem, Rocksteady Park. So I went to an event there, and we connected through that, and it's just been fast motion ever since, But yeah, been with Rocksteady since like 93.
So when did you get your first DJ setup, like your own setup?
My own setup? Like, what do you mean?
Your own turntables, like your own setup, your own.
Oh man.
When you got like your own, not that you had to go to the homies or whatever.
Yeah, the homies had to lend me their turntables when I first started. Shout out Willie Wiz, my brother Wiz in Orlando, Florida.
There you go.
Had a lot of time on my hands, man, so I connected with the locals. This kid had a set of turntables. He's like, I don't ever use them. Go ahead, So I was like, oh my God.
Nice.
Locked in the room. I was good in Florida. That's where I developed the whole shit,
Who inspired those early years? Who were the DJs or people that you looked up to?
Grandmaster Flash, Red Alert on the radio, Jam Master Jay with the whole Run DMC thing, seeing their shows or whatever. People, Louis Vega on the dance music side of things, Bunch, man, the list goes, forget about it.
And real quick, shout out Crazy Legs, man. Like, Crazy, if it wasn't for Legs, I don't think Tony and I would have met, and he was a part of the whole movement when we did so much of the cool stuff that we did.
Yeah, that's right, man. Shout out to Legs, man. He brought us together, and that Japan tour was legendary, man.
We did a couple, didn't we?
I think we did more than one, yeah.
Yeah, I think we did like at least 2.
The first one was like 3. The big one with all of us, Esteban, all of us.
Yep. That was, again, there's so many influential people and people that contributed, to what we did. Satoshi Furuya, our man in Japan, who, dude, there were tours that he was taking 20, 30 of us out there, and some of the, just so you get an idea, Tony would be spinning, Mr. Wiggles would be out there, Crumbs, Remind, Crazy Legs, like just Tony would spin, and the B-boys, and remember, this was, again, I've said this so many times, but it was prior social media, prior, even good video, even where
you had to be there.
You had
really
to be there,
it.
and we do have some footage of so many of these events, and at lunch, Tony and I were talking about, we were out there like breaking ground, paving the way for so much that came after us, and like you said too, it was a very diverse group of people. It was, on one hand, you had the homies. We were all happy and treated each other like one big happy family out there, but we had the homies from the East Coast, and then we had, the homies from out here, Delinquent Habits, Funk Dubious, or whoever was on these tours, Esteban, Cartoon, all the homies from out here, the skateboarders, we had like Key and Lou, like it was a super diverse group of people that were just out there representing culture, like hip hop culture, West Coast culture, just everything that we were involved with. And those were like amazing times. And we look back on them now and we're like, we were really doing some historical type shit.
Yeah. Nobody has done it, I think, since the Wild Style tour, right? It was like the first one where they brought all the elements with them on the tour.
Yeah.
There hadn't been one since. So what you did was like update it, and we revisited. That formula was everything, and it gets overlooked these days with like hip hop events,
What we did, what we all did, like you included, we went out there and we took, skateboarders, and we took, the four elements of hip hop, but we took, skateboarders and tattooers and
we just a step further.
Yeah, like it was amazing.
That's right.
Amazing time, man. It was on some shit.
So do you paint, Tony?
Nah, I doodle.
Okay.
And he'd get in the circles now and then too. We go to Japan. Yeah. All of a sudden, Tony would jump out from behind the turntables and whoa. And Tony would be out there getting his.
Do my little two flares. Go back to the booth. Throw a peace sign and shit.
Let him know.
Yeah.
He would get happy. But man, dude, it's that's kind of like those were the 90s, I believe.
I think I got footage from there too. I used to walk around with a camcorder, back in them days also. I had one of the first people get a camcorder like in my circle. So I was documenting, got a lot of D&D Studios footage, just walking around the hallways and shit. Yeah. Like,
we were just talking.
Even our shit, I think I got some Japan footage. I had to, because by then I had still owned, a camcorder of sorts. I can't remember which one, but we were just talking about D&D Studios, and I was telling Tony, I remember going there. I believe it was probably Legs that we were with. I don't know if it was Legs or Esteban or who we were with in New York, or maybe even Suquan. And then trying to get up. It was raining. It was dark. It was a dark night. And I remember, we're going to go check out the studio. And the studio was no joke. Like, it was, you knew it was some shit. I remember it being just like difficult to get in. You had to be buzzed in. It was high security. A little bit.
Yeah, right. But who do you remember seeing in that studio?
Oh man, everyone from Big, God bless, B.I.G., Nas, Jay-Z, Boot Camp Click.
I met Premier there.
DJ Premier had like pretty much his own room and set up within the building, And man, everybody passed through there. I recorded all my 50 MCs, mixtape stuff over there. So even a lot of West Coast folks like Rascats or, different people from the West would come over there. That'd be the studio we worked out of,
When did you know you wanted to get into beats? Was it like the whole time or after DJing? Like, when were you like, yo, I'm going to start making my own?
Yeah, I think it's like just a developing thing. Like once you DJing for X amount of years, you're like, me anyway, I'm like, all right, what's next, just to be more involved and stuff. And it just developed into that, you know. It wasn't like I had a plan. I was like, I'm going to start making beats. I just started being able to loop shit and then took off from there, you know. I want to put a chord over that loop or whatever, you know.
I don't know if I even provided an adequate introduction, just because I was just, if you look at, you know, Tony's, the people that he's worked with, the people that he's had on 50 MCs, the people that he's been fortunate enough to like do projects with.
And his own singles.
Dude, I just asked him a little while ago. I go, so on your 50 MCs, I was like, because he would work with well-known, you know, hip hop rappers and then guys that were coming up and coming, like just barely starting to come out, and he would give them the shine. He would provide a platform. Tony was one of the kings, and I'm not just saying that, but of the mixtapes. And you can watch that documentary called Mixtape, right? And the mixtapes, it's on
Paramount Plus.
Right. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out. That'll give you a little insight into our man Tony Touch.
Oh, thank you.
But I asked Tony, I'm like, who? Because just, you know, we were just sitting around and he goes, oh yeah, there was and he hadn't come out yet. People didn't really know who he was. He goes, there's this guy named Eminem. You know, that was just for example, one of the. But he's worked with pretty much. I don't think. I mean, just looking at your body of work, it doesn't seem like people really say no to you, bro. Like you've worked. It's pretty crazy.
You know what it is?
It's your reputation precedes you. You know.
No, man. God is great, man. You know. I just line myself up with people that, and if the energy's right, you just maintain those relationships, you know. And years have gone by, and I've been fortunate enough to align myself up with guys that turned out to be like super big deals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was there like, I don't want to say the beginning, but like the early stages of a lot of these people's careers, you know. I was right there grinding with them on the mixtapes or, you know, even doing street teamwork, hanging up posters, but I was getting it in, you know?
Yeah. Is there any artists that you work with that you're not surprised how big they are? And are there any artists that you work with that you knew from the start, yo, they're going to be big? And I know there's a bunch of other variables into it, but, you know.
Of course. Big Pun was definitely one I think, you know, I didn't know it was going to get like the way it turned out, you know, like on all levels of everything. Just like, wow, you know, Big Pun, God bless him, you know. And of course, hearing Eminem for the beginning, I knew this kid was going to kill shit, you know. He just had it, you know what I mean? So, and I've been rocking with them still. I got my radio show on Shave 45, Sirius XM, every Tuesday. So almost 20 years rocking with them.
Toca Tuesday.
That's right.
Tony Toca.
Yeah. So those are, but I think it's kind of, and we were talking about this earlier too, that we've been fortunate enough to be able to have these networks that started early on, like you were saying, like you were grinding with these people before, when we were all like just trying to establish ourselves and create a career and, but I think now they remember that. People remember that, and people are still down to like contribute and work with you. And but I think also as people look at what you've done, you know, like it's still, And so you did 50 MCs how many times?
3 times.
3 times. Yeah. So how many MCs total? Was it 150 or is it like...
it was over 150.
There was no repeats?
No repeats.
No shit.
Everyone had a different lineup. Yeah, it was crazy.
No way. So you worked with over 150 MCs on these...
Just on the mixtape shit. Just
Cabrón.
Easy, like 170 if you really...
Would people bug out and go, hey, let me get on this next one? Like, how come I can't be down with this next one? How come I'm not... Like even your boys, like... You know, if you say Les and Jew, like the homies, like, hey, how come I can't get on the second one?
Shit. I mean, everybody, I pretty much got everybody we needed to get.
That's crazy.
That I'm in touch with, you know.
How long does it take to do a 50 MC album, you know, record? Like
few months.
Few months, huh?
Yeah, like 3 months. You do it, you know, if you're grinding all week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couple months. Dope. It wasn't like a year, took a couple years, and then it's just knocked it out the park in a few months.
So the
you know?
technology now has probably made it a lot easier to do.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
definitely. Now you don't gotta use email the beat, send it back with vocals, put it in, you know. But I mean, what's a mixtape now, right? It's like everything's streamable or whatever. If you want to get the real money and the real streams, you gotta have original. You can't be rhyming on other people's beats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. I mean, obviously, there's, you know, they're clearing that stuff from what I hear. You know what I mean? Like, I think Apple stepped up on some like licensing mixtapes.
Yeah.
Kid Capri, I think, might have one up there. It's crazy, but yeah, man. You know, sky's the limit.
So, and then you have Peacemaker, the Peacemakers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Peacemaker albums. Yep.
And how many of those did you do?
3 of those. Yeah, we dropped the third one in 2013.
And which one am I on?
You're on the second one.
You didn't know I had that on.
Yeah, see, you never failed to surprise me. He always had something up his sleeve. You know what I mean? One day he was playing drums. I didn't even know he could play drums.
Yeah, but no, you know
drums.
what?
It's like, Bobby, you play
Yeah,
drums.
a little bit. A little bit.
Bobby, yeah, yo, but I think now you was on the Reggaetoni 2 album. Cool, you was on the Beatnut record.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said.
yeah.
That Beatnut song was on Reggaetoni Volume 2.
That was it. See, that was the next question. I know.
Yeah,
you
it
had
wasn't
the
Peacemaker. It was Reggaetoni. There's 2 of those only. I got to do a third one.
Okay.
Reggaeton.
I got a question about that. Yeah. Who's first, you or Nori, as far as reggaeton?
I mean, I was like embedded in the scene on some DJ shit in Puerto Rico early on, before all of them.
Okay,
before everybody.
Cool. So, do you think he? You know,
I like, you know, I'm not. I mean, the song obviously, you know, he hit hard with it, but like I can't say he was in the scene like that. Like I was in the island like in 92, 93, you know, with Daddy Yankee, all the guys like early, the teenagers, like, you know.
Did you ever think reggaeton would be as big as it is now?
Nah, nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, you know,
enough,
like, the sound is universal. It's a reggae-driven sound, you know, which is universal. And then it stems from there, what you going to do with it, you know.
Dope.
I think one thing that Tony's always had is that diversity, and his ear is limitless. I think he'll listen to just about anything, and he'll like we were talking earlier about walking into a club or walking into a venue and having to read the crowd. Like we were listening to some Crombin earlier when you walked in. Some of my favorite shit right now, and we listened to the Dub album, or we were listening to something else, and I was like, it was a little more even laid back, like low key, just funky, smooth, whatever. I'm like, so do you do clubs and parties like this? Like, how do you know what people are going to respond to or how, what to play? Like, you become an expert at reading the room.
Yeah, some things, I mean, like, some things ain't meant for the party either, right? Like, some of the shit we listen to is like, that's our zone out music, you know?
Yeah.
We're partying, we got to turn that up. You know?
But if you're sitting in the crowd and I'm sitting in the crowd and the G's are out there, then that might be all right, you know?
Yeah.
Turn it down.
If somebody's going to slow jam to it.
You know, like that's a trip, man. Like that's a skill to be able to read a room and kind of like record to record create. Do you go in like that? Do you like, or sometimes you go in, you got a set plan?
Not really. Nah, I walk into everything because you never, like you said, the room, man. That's challenging. You know, you got to read that room. You know, you might come in there thinking you're gonna do this kind of set, and you walk into a room and it's like, nah, this crowd ain't gonna.
Yeah.
They're not really gonna go off to this, you know. So I just go with the flow, you know. I like to usually, obviously, feed off of what's already in the room. Like the DJ played before, you read the room a little bit, get to your gig a little early, study the spot, you know, the sound, you know, just do your research before you get on. And once you get on, you know, because the number one ingredient has got to sound good sonically, so you want to be a part of that, making sure your shit sound right, you know. And then from there, reading the room, man, you know, just kind of like looking at it as like a big wave. Like, you know, everybody got to be waving in the same motion. And that's when you know you got them.
Dope. That's got to be the feeling right there.
Yeah.
So you have been like very blessed to stay so busy and still that dude in demand like internationally.
Crazy, man.
Right?
It's crazy, bro. I mean, I can't believe we still rocking. Bobby, you know what I mean?
I mean, you can see the joy in you, man. You just seem so joyous,
Homie.
you know, so blessed and so humble.
Man,
you know?
I tell you,
so
man.
humble.
We're so lucky to be
Man,
here.
you Tony
know?
Toca.
I get it.
He's that's what I told him too. Like we were talking about, like I watch him get excited, like when he hears something new, like his face will still crinkle up, and I'll be, oh shit, like
That's right. Yeah.
you know, like he still is very passionate and gets excited about what he does, and that's why he looks so good and
thanks,
and
man.
stays young. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like
yeah.
just really still enjoying what he's done. So, how many countries do you think you've spun in? You've DJ'd
Oh
in?
wow, man. Well over 30, maybe close to 40. You know, you name them.
Which are your favorites? I know it's kind of
Yeah,
not
Japan definitely up there. You know, Italy. You know what I mean? Spain or Ibiza even.
You got a thing for Ibiza, huh?
I've been, the dance music scene is a big thing of what I'm involved with right now. You know, I'm doing this like house rap kind of thing, but it's like a little on the Latin swing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, also, you know, talking that shit, you know, like just keeping it like funky and not really cliche party vibe kind of thing, you know. You got to hear it. I got this record called Apaga la Luz.
Yeah.
It's hitting kind of hard right now. It's on some house music.
You still behind the mic?
Yeah. I rhymed on these records, bro.
Okay.
It's like apaga la luz y vete pa' allá. Apaga la luz y déjame en paz. Apaga la luz que quiero rezar. La cosa está mal, so quiero gritar. Apaga la luz. You know, but it's like on some house music shit.
You guys should see him. He's glowing right now. He's
Having a
glowing.
good time with that shit, you know. And then, of course, we had another record a couple years back called Sacude. It did really well for me. A lot of visuals out there. We shot a video and stuff. And, you know, shout out Louis Vega, you know, dance music legend. You know, so we had different, like, movements going on. Not just the hip-hop or the reggaeton, but also with, like, the house music shit right now is working for me.
And being able to transition the way that he has into different genres that kind of merge together and being open to it, where, you know, I know that there's DJs out there and there's people that are out there that don't have the ability to do that or don't even have the desire or the open-mindedness to do that. I think, and that's probably where Tony's been around for so damn long and still relevant and busy and traveling and doing shows
And
all
world
over.
travel. I'm sure you got hip to so much music from different countries.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure. Definitely. Still digging in them, you know, in those record stores, you know, looking for that gem.
And in Bobby's collection.
And Bobby's collection. Yeah.
There's like 3 records in there.
Hey,
Every record he goes, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that.
But those 3 he liked. Those 3 he was like, ooh.
That was one drawer though. I think that was I
Yeah,
don't know.
bro, you got some heaters. Like,
Yeah.
even your 45s are like, you got a nice.
There's all right. There's a couple, man.
You could pull off a couple hours with them 45s. a couple hours DJ set.
I might,
Just with the
you know,
45s.
I've been tugged a couple times to do it, but I just can't.
It's gonna happen.
Haven't
It's
been
gonna
able to
happen.
do it.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby, you gotta do that, bro. It's liberating.
It's going to happen.
No, it's liberating, bro.
yeah.
Playing music for people, bro. Like that shit is the best, bro. You could do this.
Yeah. But what's the music scene in New York like now? What are you seeing? Like what's in the clubs? Like what are people responding to?
A lot of clubs moved to Brooklyn. You know, it's like a real estate thing going on over there. A lot of, you know, New York City buildings, rents are high, new buildings coming in, you know. So the party scene has been a lot in Brooklyn. You know?
What type of music are they listening to? What's hot?
You know, anything goes over there, you know. You got classic hip hop stuff, you know, live band shit, you know, you got like dance music, you know, a lot of like hipsters, it's like new wave shit. It's all kind of shit over there.
Yeah.
You know. It's like a little renaissance going on in Williamsburg.
Williamsburg,
Brooklyn.
right?
Yeah.
I remember Williamsburg. I spent a lot of time there early on with the people from 555 Soul because they were in Williamsburg.
That's right. Early
good,
Williamsburg.
Good people. Yeah, early. And it was just undeveloped. And I would go to these fucked up areas and look across the Hudson and be like, look at these views and there ain't nothing here.
Shh, you nailed it.
Yeah, and now it's all badass developed and stuff. But Here's kind of a trick question. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. New hip hop, like in the last, let's say, I don't know, let's say 5 years. What are you feeling? Like who like me? I'm not. You know, I there's not a lot out there that I really vibe off of. There's a couple things here and there that my sons will kind of hit me to, but I always find myself going back, you know, going back and finding stuff that was a little more funky, a little more like that'll distort my face, you know, stuff like that. But what do you like in the last 5 years? Say who would you say, like, Bobby, you got to check this out?
Yeah, I would probably say like the Griselda records movement, you know, West Side Gun, Conway, Benny the Butcher. Are you familiar with those guys?
I've heard of West Side Gun. He works with a good friend of mine. Shout out Isaac Palayo.
There you go.
He does a lot of stuff with them. He's an artist, and again, my son Isaac has. I've heard of you said Benny Blanco.
Benny the Butcher is
Benny
like part of that same circle. Like they got this whole Griselda Records is their label, which is distributed, if I'm not mistaken, still on Shady Records. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Conway, he got shot in the face.
Like the movie Griselda?
Like
or
the Queen Pin.
Or is this that's just the name of their
label. Yeah,
really?
Something different. Yeah, they just called their shit Griselda Records.
Okay.
And this was years before.
And so the beats are good and they're...
Oh, man, yeah, that shit snaps, you know. They're out of Buffalo, New York, so you got that New York vintage New York sound that we like, you know, that dark, you know, beats is, you know, it's heavy. You really get into it. And funky, jazzy, left field shit. You know what I mean? And they could rhyme, like, you know, I like the shit they're talking about, you know, and that's a big deal for me. When I listen to my, you know, rap shit, you know, I gotta hear something. Like, I need some substance, I need some, you know, wordplay or something that's different, something that's gonna make it, you know. So, you know, those guys for one. Another artist, let me think. This kid, Homeboy Sandman, pretty ill.
Shout out to Homeboy Sandman, that's my man.
Yeah, he's another one right now that anything I get right away, straight in. Rome Streets, another one. I think he did an album with Muggs, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay, so there is something. I really like that Mayhem Lauren.
I like that kid too.
Gems from the Equinox. That was, I think that may have been in the last 5 years. That's probably one of my favorite albums.
Shout out to Mayhem, yep. Ran into him in the pizzeria around my way not long ago.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
That's a brilliant record, too. That one is dope.
Of course, like Action Bronson, since we're going to bring Mayhem up, like Action Bronson, that whole shit. Like, there's some still good shit out there that's just not, you know, on the, you know, so-called, quote-unquote, radio. That shit is knocking, you know. Real rap heads, you know, would know and, you know, find this. He's familiar with art. Familiar with some of it, but yeah, get yourself familiar with like the Benny the Butcher stuff. You know, it's really heavy.
The label Griselda,
Conway. That's the label.
See, that's what Tony's gets. He's gonna make me hip, dog.
Yeah,
I'm gonna know my hip hop shit. The new stuff. The new stuff.
There you go.
So what are you working on now? Like let's talk about the mixtape documentary. How'd that come to be and talk a little bit about that. That was dope.
Oh,
that was
man,
hella dope. I was proud watching that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I was, you know, I was approached by some of the group that did the, Stretch Armstrong did a documentary with Babito, the Stretch and Babito. Documentary was on Showtime. It's called How They Changed Lives or something. Forget that. Fuck the title up, but Stretch and Babito.
Yeah.
So Stretch, you know. And Omar Costa, who's the director of that film, Omar really had the vision, was like, yo, you know, hook me up with Tony, you know, I got this mixtape movie idea, you know. But originally it was like going to be more like following me around, making a 50 MCs mixtape. And that was kind of like the initial way we started to address it. And then it just snowballed into this monster, bro, where I just like, was like, nah, I don't want to just be about me, like, let's get all the mixtape kings, make it interesting, and you know, it caught traction quick. Universal picked it up right away, and then you know, it ended up on Paramount Plus. But we was filming that for years, man, before even like pandemic. Matter of fact, when the pandemic started, we had just finished like doing our filming, you know.
Had good graphics too, if I remember correctly. There were good graphics in that.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. There was some great art in there, and you know, the visuals were great, man. You know, a lot of effort put into it, and got to speak to all the mixtape legends, and even guys like 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, who, you know, became kind of relevant through the mixtape circuit, right? First, I think that's when they really made their impacts. So in interviewing artists along with DJs, and then like guys like Mike Tyson, you know, just chiming in, talking about.
I wonder what Tony's like. Back then it'd be called a Rolodex.
Yeah.
I wonder what Tony's phone looks like, dog.
Yeah.
Like it's a blessing and it's super cool because it's like, is there anybody that you want to work with that you haven't worked with?
Man, you know.
There's probably a bunch, but I mean,
yeah, there's always some. There's always I can't just name one. There's so many.
How difficult is it to even? I mean, with social media now, it's a little bit different. But even trying to get in contact with people maybe that you haven't worked with before, is it the network that kind of just, hey, you know, like there? I was telling them this earlier. It takes a certain sort of personality to even be able to conduct that sort of dialogue and ask people, hey, you down to work on a project? Or, hey, you know, this is what I'm working on. You know, I would love to work with you. Or, but even getting them to respond, to pick up the phone, to return an email.
Wild, yeah.
Like, but
it's a chase too, a little bit. You know, you got to put a little effort. Not everybody's just picking up the phone like that right away. You know, sometimes you got to not blow up the phone, but you got to make an effort. You know, like I tried to call him 2 weeks ago, and you know. Hit him up again, you know. Maybe you see the phone ring or some shit. Just keep on that shit, you know.
You know, you've been in the game a long time, right?
Yeah.
And you have such a positive attitude, a great spirit. How are you here this long and you're not bitter like some of your other peers?
Shit, man. I mean, I'm still working, bro. I'm fortunate enough to be able to wake up every day and blessed to be able to, you know, wake up and go in, you know. I'm healthy, thank God, you know, health is wealth, man. You got to take care of yourself. I like to go to the gym, work out, do my therapy, burn incense, you know, just keep my zen like right, you know.
'Cause you're definitely an OG and you're not like shitting on the generations that's now. Like you're embracing it all. And there's a lot of people from, you know, the OG era that don't like today's generation or whatever, but you seem to just embrace it all and just love it, you know what I mean, and keep spreading love.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes out of my radio show. That's my music format. I play old school shit, new shit.
So that's
like it's just
Tuesdays, right?
That's on Tuesdays, yeah.
Shade 45.
Yeah.
What time?
On the West Coast, it's from 7 to 9 p.m.
And on the East Coast?
8. I mean, no, it's 7 to 9 here. In the East Coast, it's 10 to 12.
Can you listen to it when it's not on? Like if I went to
the app has certain shows up. I don't know what the app. You got to download the app and shit.
So that's Eminem shit.
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you get that show?
Just being like cool with Paul Rosenberg, all those guys early on. You know.
You know what? He's a humble man, bro.
He's so humble.
You hear
Like,
this shit?
You know,
just being nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, these
Peachy
guys.
Tony.
Nah, I was in the grind with them. You know, like yo, he's coming in my crib to drop off vinyl. Like the shit was real. Like and you know, so like the early grind, I was like a familiar face that they just. Knew, and I was just chill, and it was like it just went in, you know.
That's the humbleness that makes people like, and it's genuine. It's genuine,
sure
dog. Like
he knows he's blessed. He you know, he exudes
absolutely
like
does,
blessed.
and he you know he could have said because I'm the sickest. I was the baddest DJ at that time. Like I was a man. I was making all this fucking mix. I was doing my shit. Like who else the fuck they gonna pick? But he just says,
and the one thing about
that's the shit, Tony. Good for you, brother.
Tony touches. You have the work to back it up. Like you have all this work, all these records, all these artists that you work with.
Yeah.
And you did all this stuff and you're still so humble. So we salute you for that.
That's right.
Man, thank you,
That's
man.
a beautiful thing,
and,
man.
You know, relationships are everything, you know, and keeping them and maintaining them. And, you know, so many of my friends, they fall out with each other or stuff like that. Or, you know, I try to keep my, you know, people I love close as I could. Me and Bobby, look, we know each other damn near 30 years.
Yeah, man.
Since almost, a couple years after they started Tribal, so. And I still be rocking my Tribal Gear logos.
Yeah, man. He comes into town and he checks in. I go to New York. I check in, and hopefully
right.
we could link there, link here. But today was just one of those days, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna drop everything today.
Yeah, I like
hang
that.
out with my man. Like it's and we've got, and we're most of our discussions, if anybody were to listen to our discussions, is we realize we're blessed, and we realize it takes a lot of work and maintaining these networks and relationships, like Tony was just saying, and everything that but it's so dope. Like it's so dope, and still being excited about what we do, still being, like I was saying earlier, he puts on this record and you could see him.
Yeah,
he just lights up like, whoa, to be,
you gotta love it.
Yeah. That, I do that sometimes if a new artist or new, whatever it is, something around me that has to do with something that I'm passionate about.
It keeps us young, man. Like, look at all this cool stuff you got in your room. I'm just like tripping out, like all the mask. I got that mask right there.
Oh, the cartoon one?
The cartoon.
Shout out,
Laker
Mr.
one.
Cartoon.
It's the LA Laker one, right?
That's our man too. Like we love that dude. The dude's it's just
Tune.
love it.
On my ink is Tune.
That's right. Look at him. Straight cartoon.
All Tune.
All-
Only
look at
person I ever gave, did some ink on me.
Dude, how'd you get him like that? Check you
Just
out.
timing, man. Timing. That's another thing.
Taino, right?
These are Taino Indians. Yeah, it was like, an ode to my tribe.
Look at that.
Mr. Cartoon hooked me up, Papa.
Yep. And all these relationships came from these tours and times we spent together, and just it's the same thing. I'm sure Cartoon goes to New York, he ends up seeing Tony, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Familia, bro, for like 30 plus
And then
years.
dude, how many records you think you got?
Oh, man. Records?
Yeah.
Like how many songs? Say like Tony Toca, Tony Toca.
No.
In your collection.
Your collection.
Oh,
like
how
that.
many
The
vinyls I got?
picture. Vinyls.
At
The
least
vinyls.
I'm good for like 10,000 easy, maybe 10
He showed
to
me a
12,000.
photo of his basement. That was your basement you showed me,
my
right?
basement, yeah. See if I show it to Art. Let's see.
And how many
man.
DJs are you going to ask, how many records do you have? And the first thing they're going to think about is the records that they actually made.
Yeah.
Not many.
Yeah.
Tony's like, you talking about the records I made? The songs that I'm rapping on? No, just your collection. That's
Shit.
dope.
I wish it was 10,000.
That's dope.
But yeah, man, no,
We're going to have to see what DJs are on the mic. You got Kid Capri. You got Tony Touch. What other DJ raps?
Doo-wop.
Doo-wop. Quick.
Yeah.
Dre.
Yeah.
DJ Pooh.
Pete Rock. Yeah.
Well, you got the Beat Nuts.
Yeah, that's true.
Beat Nuts, both
They
of them.
started DJing later, I think. I'm not sure if they started as DJ. I don't know if
That's a
their
good little list we have to curate one day.
question.
Shout out to the Nuts too, bro.
The Nuts. Yo, man. Yeah. I love those guys.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like both of them. We were saying like people talk about the Beat Nuts. It's like Tony and I were outside, and it was like you cannot say one of them's doper than the other.
No,
because they're both equally sick.
Yeah.
Like they're just the shit.
Yeah, they complement each other.
Yeah.
I love those guys, man.
I used to get their records in the mail, I think from Relativity. I used to get them in the mail.
Yeah.
And then when I moved from that place, I ran into some kids like a year later, and they're like, yo, you still get records in the mail? I'm like, yo, where they at?
That's wild, man. Remember that?
Are you on some record mailing lists?
For
Still?
vinyl?
Yeah.
No, not really.
No?
I'm more email list. Obviously, the mass emails come in, but I wanted to show you a little bit of what the record, basement right there looked like.
That's right.
Not
good.
really for vinyl. Nah, I don't.
What do you like? You've obviously jumped from so many different genres, and you still can master. Or let me put it this way: you've mastered so many different genres, like going from hip hop to reggaeton to Latin music, and I know you've done some stuff with Ruben Blades too, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you just cook some new stuff up.
A blessing
Something
is
new
that,
that I'm
dude.
trying to. We tell you.
That's your boy.
Yeah, he's gonna be with me at Radio City Music Hall, man. We're doing the
Talk
show at
about
Radio
that.
City. Yeah, we had the show scheduled for February. This concert Tony Touch kind of presents, but it's like the Peacemaker concert, you know. We'll be celebrating 25 years of that album soon, you know, so get the anniversary festivities going, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, artists like Ruben Blades, and then we do like Sean Paul for the reggae, and then like the Locks or KRS-One, Rakim for the hip hop heads, you know. Or then maybe, you know, some reggaeton, like, and then a lot of freestyle too, like Lisa and Cold Jam, and what's his TKA, George Lamont, if it's like the freestyle shit, that's that New York shit, you know.
The thing is, I talked to him earlier, like, so because all these shows and travels and bookings and international shit, I go, Tony, he does it all himself.
Pretty much, yeah, man. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. Like that show, were you producing it yourself?
I'm a control freak, man. Don't nobody talk to me. Fuck
you
all
would
that
never,
shit.
you
Fuck the middleman.
would never think so, right?
Go right to me, Papa. Let's go. Tell me to cut
And
the
did you
check.
did you learn that through your years of the industry? Like,
Yeah,
let's just cut that
all
out.
you need is a lawyer, man. Just go over your paperwork, man. You know,
So you're producing that show on
some people need, you know, somebody to be the shield or the front man. You know, I've always been like just hands on with everything. So
Just
it's
straight
how-
shooter.
it's how
Like-
it played out. You know,
Yeah, because you shoot straight, I think, and that's why people are continually willing to work with you too.
it's crazy. Yeah,
You know,
cut out the middleman, Papa.
I got a crazy question for you.
Yeah.
Who would be on the Mount Rushmore of Puerto Rican or Boricua DJs?
Puerto Rican DJs like that from PR,
You, of course,
Puerto
yeah.
Rico.
or you know, yeah,
Yeah,
in the game in hip hop.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, shit, Charlie Chase.
Okay,
You know, Louis Vega.
okay.
Tony Touch.
Tony Touch.
I don't know. I could be a candidate.
All right.
Yeah.
I still got work to do.
We all do.
But there's a bunch out there. DJ Enough.
Okay.
You know,
You-
you say
you-
Puerto Rican.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say. You said Puerto Rican.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, I know
Okay,
the game.
okay. I'm gonna step that question up and make it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore of MCs. There's 5 of them, right?
Oh, definitely KRS. You know, Rakim, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, and you know, the 5th one's up in there. Let me
Yeah,
think about
that's
that for a minute.
And do you think you got to break it down in eras?
No, I mean that's my favorite era.
Fair
That
enough.
era, the 80s, late 80s,
Yeah.
87, 88. It was like, it was everything. You know, just graduated high school.
Yeah.
It's like shit was just like
Yeah, he lighten up.
See
You
him-
guys got to see him,
He
man.
dances too.
Yeah.
Molly Mall on them beats coming out,
Yeah.
them James Brown loops and shit. It just got crazy. And so that's my favorite era. That's why I go to that era of MCs. You know, of course, nowadays we got like,
We got one left.
I got to think about the last one, man. I said G-Rap, Kane, KRS, Rakim, and one more. I got to think about that.
That's a tough one, right?
That is
Because
a
it's
tough
got to
one,
be some of the new. It's not new, but
No,
It's a
but
tough
somebody
one.
that just like from that era, like for me, my favorite era. So maybe like a LL Cool J. I got to think about this.
Yeah,
you know?
that's tough based on the 4 that you
LL
lined up. That's a tough one.
LL is right there though, like with the, you know, the
Because
body
he used to
of
crush
work.
people.
Yeah, Run DMC. Like there's so many that could go into the 5th slot. I'll leave that one open, Papa.
that's tough.
That's tough.
That's really. That's like
I'll
yeah,
leave the 5th one like a tie.
a 5-way tie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a good one. That's a good 5.
So as far as the next style of music, because it seems to me like you're always progressing and moving forward, and you know the types of music, and not just something that already exists, but maybe a new genre that's kind of bubbling. Are you seeing anything? Are you feeling like what's next? Do you see not just for you, but maybe for you, but what's coming to surface? Like
A lot more stuff that's like fusioned out, you know what I mean? Like hybrids and shit, you know? Everything is one thing mixing with another is like kind of, I think where this can go now, you know? Like I'm doing, like I said, I did the Spanish, rapping in Spanish over a house beat, you know? And I mean, not that hasn't been done before, but, you know, my approach is, I think, a little different, you know? And then you got like the drill sound out of New York, or, you know, even obviously the music from the South, or that, you know, at down south, dirty. Like it depends on where you're. There's so much going on. You know what I mean? And there's so many. Everybody got their little movements going on. And then the guys I mentioned, like Griselda and West Side Gun, they got like a crazy following. You know what I mean? Their shows and their videos, their shit is on fire. So there's still some. There's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope. I think obviously not everything's for me. It speaks to a younger. Most of the music, the hip hop shit speaks to a younger, demographic, and stuff like that. So obviously it's not for us,
Yeah.
But there's so much shit out there that we just got to do a little more research and look for it.
Just keeping up, bro.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep up. Like it's, depending on what that room's gonna look like, you could walk into a room and like the last thing you want to be is clueless. Like you have to see what's what. We were talking about like this movement that we're seeing out here of a lot of like the Peso Pluma stuff, like this whole new era of like Mexican music or Mexican. I don't know if I'd call it hip hop or corridos or what, but there's so many different things that can, like you said, they can fuse together and kind of create something new and fresh.
I think that's where it's going. That's like it right there. I remember hearing like some cumbia with like hip hop, it's like a lot of like mashups kind of thing going on. Artists are doing more of that. I think on their records could be a thing.
I played him Obed's new one, Sabor. Obed Padilla. Shout out to him.
What up, Obed?
Yeah, and
that.
they had kind of Tony liked it, but to me the horns on that track sound Buena Vista Social Club, like the way the horns sounded. Didn't it kind of sound like that?
Yeah, them horns are hitting.
Yeah,
We might have to get a Tony Touch remix out of that one.
Could be.
Never.
I don't see why not.
You never know. I'll put you in contact. I'll give you his number, but real good kid. Tony, I know you've got a new project. You just released something new, a project that goes with the mixtape movies. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, man. Also, there is a soundtrack to the documentary, Def Jam Records. You know what I mean? And they teamed up with us kind of on the film, as well. And the album Sick came out in August. Got like song. I did like a 50 MCs mixtape with all Def Jam artists, past and present, and then their beats. Like I had access to like the whole library of like the Def Jam catalog. So I'm just like
the whole library.
Yeah, so I could. I mean, it was a Def Jam mixtape, right? So I'm just like, let me just pull out these. So I had like Paul Revere, remember Beastie Boys, Paul Revere. So I got like Rick Ross on there with Jeezy and them, Shit is crazy. And then like Jadakiss rapping on Tonight's the Night, the old Redman shit. We redid Mary J. Blige Method Man record. We did it with Dave East and Tiana Taylor. So these like newer Def Jam artists. Like, so we got like old school Slick Ricks on the album. You know what I mean? Like shit is crazy. Chuck D.
Jeez.
All Def Jam shit.
Who gets that? Oh, here's the whole library. Go ahead, use whatever you want.
Yeah, that was smash. Kid in the Candy Store with that one. So that album came out in August. It's called The Def Tape. It is the soundtrack to the mixtape. That was my last album.
Where can you get that?
That's available on all platforms. Stream it everywhere. It's on Def Jam, right? Imagine.
Yeah, man.
I signed my deal at Def Jam at 50 years old, bro. It's the oldest artist ever signed to Def Jam.
There you go.
You know what they say about Thriller? Quincy Jones produced Thriller at 50.
I love that.
At 50, that's when he produced that record.
That's sick, bro. I love that Quincy Jones
documentary
on Netflix.
His daughter did that. I didn't even know that was his daughter. Like,
yeah.
Till a little bit later.
Yeah, and LMFAO, that's his grandson. Yeah, the kid's LMFAO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Red Foo is Quincy Jones' grandson, and Red Foo, the other kid, is Red Foo's nephew.
Lord. That's cool. You know what it is? That documentary, We Are the World making of. Did you see that?
Yeah, I didn't have it in me to watch it.
I didn't see it.
Did you watch it?
No. It's pretty cool.
Was it? It was. I don't know.
Behind the scenes of that day, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I will watch it because I didn't think of all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, it's not that long. It's basically that, like a behind the scenes of that shit.
But we're gonna wrap this one up. Damn.
Awesome, bro. I'm so happy to be here, man.
Dude,
And what's it called? The compound.
Yeah. That's kind of we've used that term. It's the compound. It's the giant
That's right.
man cave, or it's the hideout. It's
it's really cool being here. I love the art, man. I can't stop, checking out all these pieces.
Brother. And ya sabes, aquí tienes tu casa. Like anytime, brother.
Love you for that.
This is always
love you for that, man.
And we're love you too. And we're right here. And thanks to Artistic.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
Pulling together. Shout out to my boy Johnny Be Good always for holding me down. And Rocksteady Crew. Shout out to them. Crazy Legs, the Bee Nuts.
That's right.
Just everybody on the East Coast. The Tribal Clique for sure. You know who you are. Satoshi, man. It's we could go on, but Tony Touch. So you got to check out Mixtape on Paramount Plus.
That's right.
Shade 45.
Yeah,
that's
it's called Mixtape the Movie.
Mixtape the Movie.
Yeah, documentary. If you go to documentaries and Paramount Plus, boom.
Yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
Shade 45, Toca Tuesdays, 7 to 9 West Coast time. 150 MCs times 3.
That's right.
Yep.
You could get my whole mixtape collection, like every mixtape I've ever done. You could go to TonyTouch.com and you order the one USB. And it's all MP3s, so it plays like in the cars and shit.
There you go. And you will definitely get some historical hip hop mixed with the freshest new next shit that's happening today. My man Tony Touch, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, bro. Bobby Ruiz, Bobby Tribal, Lord Left Podcast, DJ Artistic.
We out.